The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Wrestling to the Max, Monday Night Raw Review.
Hello and welcome to the Wrestling to the Max Raw Review for the Raw After Mania. My name is Brandon Biskobing. I'm your host, and joining me as per usual, Cedric Cologne. Cedric, how's it going?
It's going great. How you doing?
Pretty good. We're on a little bit of a time crunch, so not too much, but overall, what do you think of Mania?
I enjoyed it. I really liked it, and I'm really surprised and kind of annoyed with many of the negative comments that have been
I'm
on
shocked.
various media.
I'm shocked at how many negative comments there were. Like we talked about on the review, there were 3 matches that were the big matches, that were the main events. And each one had the clear-cut, face victory that would be the feel-good moment. And we all thought, they got hit on Becky, they got hit on Kofi. But Seth, we thought they can slide with it. But apparently Brock's going back to UFC now, so Seth got it too. And that opened up the show at Mania and also opened up Raw with him coming out with the title and talking about how he's going to be a fighting champion and everything. First off, just how shocked were you, not only when Heyman and Lesnar came out to start off Mania, but then seeing Rollins win the title?
I was surprised that was the match that started Mania,
Mm-hmm.
but I think the way they rode into it with Heyman coming out and giving the reason why, I actually enjoyed that. I think that was really smart from the creative side.
I mean,
And
and it makes sense on a storyline level as well, because that is Brock's MO of I don't want to be here, so if I'm not the main event, if I'm not the main focal point, I just want to get my stuff out of the way and go home. So, it worked on so many different levels, and that really set into motion how great WrestleMania was going to be. And then on Raw, Seth comes out, talks about how great it is to win the title, and he's going to be a fighting champion and everything. And then Kofi, to everyone's shock, comes out with his title, and they're celebrating together. And then Kofi, which, truth be told, I kind of expected what was going to happen later on, which we'll talk about. I expected it to be someone different, but I kind of expected it. But at the same time, I was like, this is the Raw after Mania. I would not, and with how things have been going, and it seems like they're trying to kind of, not officially, obviously, they have the Superstar Shakeup next week. But it seems like they're trying to get the brands more homogenized now. I was like, are they really going to unify the titles here? Because they already, we still don't know officially what's going to happen in terms of how Becky is going to defend both the Raw and SmackDown women's titles, if they're united now, if she's going to defend against different people, or what have you. But the fact that they combined those two already, it was like, are they really going to do that? But it was still a great moment and a crazy way to kick off the Raw after Mania.
Definitely. It was obvious. Well, let me not say that because we'll get to it later on. But when they mentioned, okay, let's fight title versus title, I was like, there's no way this is gonna happen because both of you just getting the title
Mm-hmm.
and losing it the next night. I know that has happened in the past, but I was like, that would just blow off a whole storyline here,
Yeah.
especially Kofi's.
Well, yeah,
'Cause
because I was expecting it to be Kofi to be the one to lose if they were going to do that. I was like, that would just be a huge shot in the face. They'd be really stupid to do it. But this is Vince McMahon that we're talking about, so I was like, oh, he's going to give us all these feel good moments, give us the greatest WrestleMania of all time, just to throw us under the bus the next night, which it did kind of feel that way to an extent. I'll talk about it more later, but next after that we get a tag match scheduled for one fall.
One fall?
For the Raw tag team titles between the new tag team champions Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder versus the Revival, and especially considering what happened, I want to say it was 2015, either 2015 or 2016, when Ryder won the IC title. Especially considering they've done it to Ryder already once, I was fully expecting them to just switch him back right there. But they didn't, which was shocking to me.
I think it's funny because I was looking at the Twitter feed and I noticed Cody Rhodes giving Zack Ryder a lot of kudos and really giving him his personal push to be used much better. And to me, I'm like, if I worked in WWE and I see that, I'm like, not only can I lose one team, I can lose this guy as well. So they probably thought, let's put the tag team titles on these two gentlemen, and just give this whole storyline how they were one of the youngest teams to win back in the day, almost 20 years ago. And with the Revival literally being misused even as champions, and with the whole rumor that they had requested to go out. So I think this just pretty much cements that, I think the Revival is literally, I wouldn't be shocked if in the next few weeks they were cut loose, because it really doesn't make sense to have
the
a
crazy
team that good.
the crazy thing about that though is that I think Harry said this on the chat or something, or I heard it somewhere. I think he might have mentioned it on the preview that the Revival have re-signed. So
that is true.
So if they have re-signed, I don't know what they're gonna do with them, and it's very disappointing to see such a great tag team from NXT. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I don't like tag teams or women being called up to the main roster because they seem to be misused from NXT. But, we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. Next we get Baron Corbin coming out, talking about how he beat Kurt Angle, retired him, all that. He's New York's favorite son, yada, yada, yada. And then, to, I think a lot of people's shock, honestly. And I have a bad feeling. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But considering that, most of the time when you get a retirement match, like Kurt's, you don't have them come back the next night unless it's as like a farewell speech.
Which he did in WrestleMania.
Exactly. I have a bad feeling that this isn't over.
I don't mean this in a bad way. I hope you're wrong, because I agree with you.
Well, yeah, I hope I'm wrong too, but
we're talking about the whole farewell tour, and he has the match, and for whatever reason they kept it with Corbin, and he loses, which usually that's the way it goes. I read a lot of people were really upset with the results, but usually in WWE, most folks on their last night they lose, and that's gone with every legend to even someone like Tajiri. But I hope they keep their word, but because it just doesn't look good when you have a retirement match and then
a few weeks later he comes back to wrestle. Yeah, agreed. And here's the thing. Now, I don't know what his schedule was like. I don't know if he just left New York automatically right after. But if he was available, you had someone, and I was honestly hoping that, like, Corbin was gonna, beat down Kurt again, and we were gonna get this. You could have had someone else come out to defend Kurt's honor very easily, and he would have probably gotten the biggest pop ever. And it's shocking how quickly he went from, someone who a lot of people either didn't really care about or didn't want to see to probably one of the biggest faces once again in WWE. Do you know who that is? What?
Oh, we're not talking about Angle, I'm assuming.
No, we're not talking about Angle. Someone who, the Doctor is back. Like,
yeah, Harry said, I think he mentioned Cena at one point.
Mm-hmm.
The whole ruthless aggression era, that would have been an amazing match.
Mm-hmm.
That was Harry should write, because that, I don't know how that slipped through the hands of the creative team, but then again, we've seen many things slip through the creative team. So,
but yeah, could you imagine the pop if Baron's running down Kurt and everything, and then all of a sudden you just hear Doctor of Thugonomics play, and Cena comes out and defends Kurt's honor, even says ruthless aggression. I would have loved if that happened, and then just beats down Corbin. But unfortunately, we didn't get that. It's crazy. I'm shocked I'm saying this because I've been one of the biggest Cena, at least current, PG Cena detractors. But I want to see the Doctor come back for a while. I honestly do. It would be a great way for him to end his career on a high note.
And it was Lars Sullivan, correct? That.
Oh yes, I completely forgot about that. Lars Sullivan, after being on hiatus for a while, apparently for some mental problems, have some I forget what it.
He has some anxieties issues.
Yeah, anxiety. There we go.
Coming out.
Yeah. He's back, and he went off and attacked Kurt as well. So we'll see what happens with him. It'll be interesting. Next after that, we've got the next match scheduled for One Fall.
One Fall
is Alexa Bliss versus Bayley, and I get why they did this, but I love Bayley, so I mean that doesn't exactly help. But after losing the tag titles, I get you're trying to get Alexa back in the ring, but this just fell flat for me.
Well, Alexa was incredibly flat as WrestleMania's host. I don't understand why they continue this whole thing about a host, because they play no part.
Mm-hmm.
Even when
the only time that it's ever played a part was New Day.
Yeah, but she's back to wrestling, and I'm assuming in their minds, what better way to put her either against a Bayley or maybe a Sasha Banks? Because really putting her against anybody else, it would just fall into the side, So that's probably why they did it. And, and she's a good heel. She's a really good heel, and want to make her look strong. She's 5'0" nothing, but yet she's full of charisma and
she's at 5 feet of fury.
Exactly. So that's probably why they did it.
Probably. I understand why they did it. It's just.
But it wasn't the best way.
Yeah. Next we get Becky Lynch coming out talking about how she won the title and all of this, and how she wasn't the favorite or anything, but she pulled it off. And we actually finally get something with Lacey Evans. Becky's about to, or Lacey interrupts her. Is about to do just her catwalk, and then proceeds to attack Becky. So I guess Lacey is going to go from just doing catwalks to having a title shot.
Oh man, I think they overdid the catwalk thing. Even
Oh,
to
agreed.
include it in WrestleMania was ridiculous. Uh, and I don't even think she came out to interrupt anything. She just came out. Like if she would have come out to interrupt, as they're calling the Hall of Famers or something like that.
Well, she came
But I
out
think
as Becky was done, and as Becky was about to leave.
so. That kind of started something, but then again, it it don't. I don't know. They overdid it.
Oh
That's my
yeah.
point.
Oh, I
But
agree. I agree.
to go straight to the title, I think that would be a little
Yeah.
bit too much. I think they
Oh
should
no,
kind of
absolutely.
warm the fans a little bit more because we don't know how many of those fans follow NXT.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they should see her fight against I don't know, maybe oh my gosh, her name just went up, Brooks.
Dan
Maybe
Brooks.
beat on Brooks or something like
Yeah.
that, or one of the legends from the Riot Squad, and then maybe
Yeah.
go to Becky. But if they want to go straight to Becky,
Well,
then
I hate to say it, although I'm okay with it because I don't like either one of them, and I love how they both fell flat on their faces. Well, one did so far, but you know what? I'll compare this a lot to in a way. It not in the same way that they did it, but in the sense of they're just catapulting her all the way up with no rhyme or reason, and it's gonna fall flat on its face as a result. It reminds me a lot of Jinder Mahal,
mm,
where out of nowhere he gets a title shot. I'm just hoping that it's a squash for Becky, because having Becky go through all of this just to have her lose it to someone who hasn't competed at all would be a disgrace.
yeah.
Next, we get Seth talking backstage and talking about how Kofi isn't ready to face him. We get another tag team match scheduled for one fall.
One fall.
Between Aleister Black and Ricochet and Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. Black and Ricochet win, but Roode and Gable officially turn heel in the process. How long do you think this team will last?
I'm hoping that Roode and Gable last for a while
Oh, no,
because
not Roode and Gable.
oh
Black and Ricochet.
well that team I am ready to see gets broken up because I've never been a fan of
Mm-hmm.
putting two individuals as a
Oh,
team.
that's one
Eh,
thing I've hated for like it, and it's been going on for like the last 4 years in WWE, where it's like it's been the land of the mashup tag teams.
So for me, I hope that they kind of go away from this because I think those two as individuals, they shine better. But
Unfortunately, I have a feeling that they're gonna stay as a tag team for a little while. That's
yes,
what it seems
I
like.
I agree with you. I definitely agree with you.
Um, Next we get Elias talking about how he's got a concert and all of this. So we'll talk more about that later. We get a little vignette with a rubber buzzard, which I didn't even realize it was supposed to be a buzzard, but it makes sense, popping out from a cardboard box, which signifies Bray Wyatt's gonna be coming back at some point. We'll see if they actually use him properly. Doubt it. But, if this were 5-6 years ago, this would have been a huge deal. But now it just falls flat for me because Bray Wyatt
He
is
has so
just...
much potential.
He did. Well, I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing about a character like Bray Wyatt. You need to win in order to have that aura. You can't say that you're a god and then lose all the time.
And definitely lose the big ones.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Next we get what was supposed to be Dean Ambrose's final match, but Bobby Lashley says the wrong thing and gets attacked for it. says he's gonna take care of Renee for Dean while he's gone. They battle up to the announce table, and then Bobby proceeds to slam Dean through the table, and I kind of wish, like, I get why they're doing this to an extent, and for everyone who thinks, oh, this is a work, apparently he came out post Raw last night and made his farewell speech and everything. So no, he's gone. And I wish they would, like, they did it every now and again, like with the Miz feud, but I wish they would have done more with him and Renee.
Yeah, it was awkward knowing that they're a couple.
Mm-hmm.
It was always weird when she would interview him
Mm-hmm.
because
Oh yeah.
he will keep it in a way that, like, he wouldn't try to hint that they're married.
Mm-hmm.
It was more her, but to me the thing is, like, that what happened is almost like a feud starter. But if he's leaving, then what happens to Bobby?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh no, I agree with that. Where do you go from here with Bobby? Because, you know, that type of comment is something that would start a feud, not end one. So where are they going to go from here?
Unless they throw us off in some way, somehow he comes back as, I don't know, some kind of other character, but it just wouldn't work.
No, that wouldn't work. The only thing that I can think of is this, which, I mean, I'd be okay with it, I guess. But again, it's another situation where it's like, do you really want to bury another potential top heel? I could see it being where, well, actually, the right way to do this would be to have Seth basically take over and defend Dean and Renee, and that lead to a title feud. But I have a feeling it'll be Roman instead.
Which I would really hate that whatever happened between Roman and Drew just gets squashed in WrestleMania and left
Exactly.
untouched anymore.
And apparently there were boos already. My premonitions have come true. They are making the same mistakes that they did last time, and all that goodwill for Roman is going to go down the tube like that.
Yeah, Seth even had to remind the crowd of what Roman had gone through.
Mm-hmm.
I was seeing at one point, he had to let the crowd know, hey, this man went through this, because they were booing him.
Mm-hmm. Because they're making the same mistakes. If they actually had him actually have to battle something and feel like he's lost a step, I think he would be more endearing. But that's enough for that. At least he wasn't on the show, this time around. But apparently I read a rumor that, WWE did that on purpose because they kind of figured that the crowd would be, mixed. Next we get Sami Zayn making his return, which was pretty cool. He talks about wanting a match, and Finn Balor comes out. They make it for the title, which was weird, and I didn't like that, honestly, because this could have been a way you could have had Sami come back, get a win over Balor, which would have led to a title feud moving forward. But instead, Balor beats him, and then Sami promptly turns heel again. Which is another thing that it seems like WWE likes to do a lot. They like to have guys come back, they get the big return pop, and then proceed to turn them heel.
I think in Sami's case, it needs to be done. I don't. the cheerful Sami Zayn to me was not appealing at all. I think the heel version of him, especially teamed up with Kevin Owens, that
But see,
worked for me
that's the thing.
perfectly.
You don't have Kevin on unless you're gonna have one of them switch brands next week, which would work and would be fitting with them being in Montreal. But if you're teaming them up, well, but see, here's the thing: you just turned Kevin Owens face, so you can't
Hmm.
do that. I would personally love to see a Kevin and Sammy face team.
I would love to see Kevin and Sammy switching roles, where now Kevin is the face and Sammy is
That would be
the
interesting.
heel.
I
That would
could
be nice.
I could honestly see that happening. I think that's probably where they're going with this. Well, hopefully. But we all know that feuds like that always seem to not happen, like Sasha and Bailey.
Hmm.
Next we get Dana Brooke being interviewed, saying that she's gonna seize her moment and all of that. Elias comes out, talks about getting interrupted. It would have been funny if Cena had interrupted him again, but we got something just as good. Elias saying, the next person to interrupt me is a dead man. Well, yes, you would be correct, Elias. He is a dead man. He is the dead man. It's The Undertaker.
That was amazing
That
in my
was
opinion.
great.
I was watching a podcast, no, a video podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and people were like complaining about why the Undertaker came out the Monday after Mania instead of in Mania. And to me, I was thinking, you know what, guys, you guys got to get used to the fact that he's at some
Yeah.
point we're not going to see him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was really good for them to hint with pictures of him backstage, not coming out in Mania, but then coming out the next day and doing
Mm-hmm.
what he did. I think that was great. Plus, like I said, and the pun is intended. Elias is the only character right now that the more you bury him, the more popular he gets.
Mm-hmm.
So he is the only character right now, in my opinion, that no matter what happens, he's still gonna be popular among the
Oh,
fans.
yeah.
So I
Well,
think it's good.
because he's not really a wrestler. He has this gimmick where he's a musician that's just playing in a wrestling ring.
But he's a good wrestler, though.
Oh,
Don't
he
get me
is.
wrong. I love him as a wrestler.
Oh, so do I. But, you can do a lot more with him without it making it feel like, oh, he's not being used right.
Mm-hmm.
So next we have our main event scheduled for one. Well, technically not, but what was the announced main event scheduled for one fall?
1-4, maybe?
Which, yeah, really didn't go to one fall, as it is title for title between the WWE Champion Kofi Kingston and the Universal Champion Seth Rollins. And this went to a DQ finish because of, wait for it, the bar. What? This did... Okay, go ahead.
Keep going. You go. I want to hear what you're going to say.
I don't get this. Yes, like we talked about, it made sense because you don't want to combine the belts. It makes sense for there to be a screwy finish. But this would have been the perfect opportunity to either A, debut someone, or have someone return, or have someone come in to set up a future title feud with one of them. And not to mention, I mean, we talked about it before, I see the writing on the wall, but the Bar is another SmackDown team. Why are they there? Go ahead. Well, what were you gonna say?
First of all, one thing I was gonna say is, I am very surprised all the mixed comments that I've seen for Kofi as champion. People discrediting him because all he is a pancake flipper. People keep kind of have forgotten or haven't watched the previous SmackDowns where they show Kofi's past and growth in WWE. And
not to mention, I mean, people should realize just based off of his Royal Rumble feats, how athletic he is.
Exactly. He's to me second to Shelton Benjamin. To be honest, Shelton has some really great moments that people have forgotten as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw people upset with Seth winning, and I'm like, you're the same people that were complaining about Lesnar holding the title hostage. So anyway, that was just something I had to get off my chest.
I guess it's
But
the old adage that you can't make everyone happy ever, because, like I said before, I honestly think with how they hit their marks on all of the big moments, that this WrestleMania was the greatest of all time.
I enjoyed it a lot. I really enjoyed it. But to your point of debuting somebody, who do you think would have been like that it would have made sense? Do you think like instead of Lars being used with Kurt Angle, maybe they could have put him here, or maybe even a
That would
Randy
have been
Orton,
too quick of a
RKO on
ride.
both of them?
I would have had it be like Drew and have him
Good.
set up a title feud with Seth as a result.
But to make it even better, like him, Claymore kicking both wrestlers, keeping you like in the wait a minute, who are you gonna challenge? You know?
Exactly.
Or
Well,
even
plus
like I
Drew's
said,
just a dick, so he would Claymore kick both of them anyway.
especially after losing to Roman the previous night, he still would be upset with the whole Shield and even more now with Seth, which in my opinion, I agree with Harry. I think that Drew should have won,
Oh, I
and
agree.
definitely what you just said would have been a perfect um continuation of his growth. Him like Claymore kicking both guys, but then focusing on the Universal title because I don't know where you go from this point on with Drew. They were
Because
building him quick. They built him really quick to this monster, and almost like a Strowman effect. Like that match kind of drops him completely.
here's the other thing too about it. What is the main goal of Raw and SmackDown? It is to not only lead you into the pay-per-views, but it's to build the stories and the biggest thing, to keep you watching. The ending to Raw after Mania does nothing to make you think what's going to happen next. But if Raw had gone off the air with Drew standing over Seth Rollins with the Universal title in his hand, that would have been a great way to start the feud and would have gotten people talking and ready for more.
And can you imagine if he would have been holding both titles?
Well, yeah, that would have been even better, but
Let's keep it simple.
yeah. I mean, WWE can't even do simple things right, so let's try to take baby steps here.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. That was a poor choice. They could have done so much more there.
But like we said, Seth Rollins made a tag team match between Seth and Kofi in the bar. Obviously, Seth and Kofi win, further burying the tag division. By the way, because two random guys who haven't even teamed up together and don't really even know each other are able to be an established tag team. But that it is what it is. So that's how we went off the air. Overall, 1 to 10, what would you give it?
I'm gonna give it, if there's such a thing, a strong 7 or 7.5 around
Okay.
that range because there were good moments, but you know how people say that the one thing that you stays in your mind is the last thing that you see. I think that ending was a little bit kind of weird. I think they could have done a little better than that, just based on what we've talked about. So I'll give them a good 7.5. I think they could have done more, but they had some good moments.
I'm a little lower than you. I'm gonna go 6.25
Oh wow, very
because
specific.
because I was like I was gonna say 6.5, but I was like even there. But it was better than a 6. Especially considering if this were any regular Raw, I would have given it like a 6.5 or a 7. But because it's the Raw after Mania, you expect so much out of it. And with the exception of a few moments, they really didn't deliver. And I hate to say it, but I think this was Vince basically saying, I gave you guys everything you wanted at Mania. I didn't pull the rug out from underneath you this time. So, as a result, yeah, you got your Dream Mania, but you don't get your Dream Raw after Mania.
Hmm.
So we'll see how tonight goes. But one word review.
Well, one word review. Build up. To me, if not on SmackDown, hopefully on the next shakeup, they build actual feuds. You have people returning. You have new champions. You have uh, a good pot of wrestlers in NXT that you could bring up, or maybe someone that just recently signed and forget of sending them to NXT, just push them straight to the main roster. You have ways to build up, and you might have lost an opportunity on that Monday after Mania, but there's still SmackDown and there's still weeks in front of us to the next big pay-per-views. So build up good storylines, build up your characters, and the success is there. It's there for the taking. Prove folks wrong.
Yeah. I don't think we'll get much build up next week, because I think next week will be like you mentioned, the shakeup, getting guys moving around and getting guys acquainted with the different brands. But then the week after that, I think we'll start things up again. I'm gonna say lackluster. Like I said, this was Raw after Mania. You have such high expectations, and something crazy always normally seems to happen. But this time it just didn't. It just felt like a regular Raw. It didn't feel like anything special to me.
I agree.
So that's going to do it for us. I will be back later tonight. We're recording this on Tuesday for SmackDown. And Cedric and I will be back for the International Superstar Shakeup next week for Raw. So for Cedric Cologne, I'm Brandon Biskobing. We'll talk to you next week, and see you later. Peace!